Yeah, they had a cat display or cat food bowl right there. Yeah, so the food, the cigarettes, the beer cans, they were camped out here. I don't know about you, but I'm seeing a visible increase in homelessness. It's not just a big city thing. It's not just a, oh, it's in Atlanta type of thing. Even in small towns, I mean, you're seeing people. So, at least in my area, I'm seeing people move from the bigger cities to some smaller towns. People living in the woods. It's a very real thing. It's not just because usually when I first got here to Georgia, I would drive to the city. I would see homeless people on the corners and they set up tents under bridges and stuff like that. But I didn't really see a lot of that in rural areas, not here in Georgia. But now I'm really starting to see it here in Georgia. And I think a lot of people just can't afford it. They can't afford the high cost of living here. I wonder if it's affecting other areas in the country. It's got to be. You guys share your thoughts because maybe it's just this area, but I'm seeing it's pretty visible. When you see visible homelessness in rural areas, you know it's the situation is really escalating. So we're already at a point where a lot of people can't afford rent. It's just a matter of time before we get to the point where a lot of people can't even afford their own vehicles. And that sort of had me thinking, is the government actually trying to get people into the position where they can't own a vehicle? Is the government using emission standards, emission laws to force people out of car ownership? I've been thinking about a new vehicle, or just a more reliable vehicle. I like my Chevy Tahoe, but when I look at the next vehicle I might get, I'm thinking about Toyota, but even they have questions. Even I have questions about Toyota because of the emissions. The government's emission standards are requiring car manufacturers to produce cars with even greater gas mileage. Well, I think the technology has hit a wall in the sense that they're not going to be able to produce engines that are going to be super reliable and also meet these emission standards that keep escalating every year. Toyota, they're actually replacing their V8 engine and with I think a V4, V6 hybrid type of engines or something. I don't know. They've been having some problems apparently. Some of them have had some problems. Chevy, the newer Chevy Tahoes and Suburbans, I've heard some issues with their engines too. So even something as reliable as Toyota, their reliability isn't what it used to be. I think the government purposely put in those emission standards because they knew that it would be impossible for the manufacturers to maintain their reliability and keep up with the emission standards. I think the goal is to make cars more expensive and more complex. Because they're more complex and have more sensors and more computers, they're going to cost a lot more and they're going to be harder to really maintain, and it's going to be more complicated, and it's also going to create some reliability issues. So the average consumer is going to be like, okay, it's costing me more money to keep this car maintained, and it's not really going to be all that reliable. Maybe I'm better off going with, not having a car at all. Maybe I think they're trying to encourage people to not have vehicles, just rely on self-driving vehicles. If a person wants to go from point A to point B, I think a lot of people in the government will like to see a situation where people don't own their own vehicles and they just call an autonomous vehicle, Uber with no driver, and they step in the vehicle and the vehicle just takes them to wherever they want to go, which might end up being cheaper for a lot of people, but it also means they're going to lose their freedom to just jump in a car and go wherever the heck they want to go. The government could actually have more control over people in that situation, whereas you can jump in an Uber and the government can just order that Uber to take you right to the police station. That's certain things like that. So these are some of the things that I've been thinking about lately when it comes to technology. I've been going to the range. Oh yeah, another thing, customer service. Customer service is dead in America. You go into a store, they don't care if you're waiting for like 20, 25 minutes to buy something. They just don't care. Customer service is a thing of the past in America, and even as recently as 2001, which is years ago, 24 years ago, a long time ago. Actually, I'm old. I remember the approach to customer service was very different. Some companies put an emphasis on it. Now it's just like, Yeah, we'll get to you when we get to you. We don't care. You don't like it, just order it off Amazon. I guess that's what everybody's going to end up doing anyway. Yeah, I had to ditch my my old GoPro Hero 7 because it just wasn't that reliable. It would actually stop while recording, and I lost some really good range footage while trying to use that camera. So I thought it was time for a new camera. And I picked up this DJI Action 4 camera, and I love this camera. I love the battery life. I love the fact that it doesn't take all day just to charge the thing. That's something I experienced with the GoPro Hero 7. I know I'm comparing a really old camera to a newer camera, but this camera must have a bigger battery, a better battery, or better configuration, because it doesn't take that long to go from 60 to 85%. Just you can do that in a matter of about 10 minutes or so. So it charges really fast. I love the fact that battery seems to conserve. It doesn't burn a lot of battery life with just 10 minutes of recording too. So this is a nice upgrade. I actually use my GoPro head mount, and I'm actually using this for range footage. So I like the construction of this. Although you do need sort of like a higher end micro SD card. You can't have like a cheap micro SD card. Just something to keep in mind. But yeah, all you have to do is just buy the standard one, and you'll be able to get enough accessories so you can link it up with the different mounts. So yeah, definitely enjoy that.